two things. A, look at the messaging. If you're sending 5 emails that just say, just following up, just checking in, then absolutely, you're going to get ignored. You are being ghosted because you're a bore. You are an absolute bore. So if you're getting ignored by your customers or your prospects, it's probably because you're a bore. Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Sales Circle podcast. That actually sounded quite confrontational, didn't it? I do apologize. I don't want you to take that to heart. But today, in today's episode, we're going to be talking all about ghosting. We're going to be talking about why people ghost you and what you can do to avoid it. Now, of course, I know that this is very similar to another episode we had very recently where we talked about ghosting. But listen, it's a very important topic, and I always kind of monitor, I listen out, look out for what people are saying and what people are asking. And I'd say I get a high proportion of messages or comments saying, how do I stop people ignoring me? I've sent a proposal, what can I do to get that person back on track? They ask me all of these questions, and actually, you know, it's really relevant that we talk about it. So I'll try and keep it as fresh so it's not the same like before. But we're going to be talking about ghosting, what happens, what you can do to avoid it happening again in the future. Welcome to the Sales Circle podcast. My name is Rob Spence. I'm your host. I'm a sales trainer, sales author, sales coach, and a managing director of a multi-award-winning sales and marketing agency. Now, for you eagle-eyed viewers, and maybe if you're watching this over on social media or on YouTube, you'll know that we've changed around some lights in the background. What do you think to it? This was an accident. Whoever used the studio last had turned that one to purple and turned that one to kept that one on blue. Normally we have them both blue. I've kept that one purple because I forgot. But what do you think? Does that look cool? Does it look bad? Are you happy? Let me know. I'd love to know your thoughts. Let's crack on to the main part of the episode, and I'll see you in just a second. So what do we mean by ghosting? Well, look, it's a topic that has been penned around now recently. And for me, ghosting is when a prospect or a potential customer just doesn't answer your calls. They stop coming back to you. Sometimes those could be people that you have had a great first conversation with, a great initial conversation with. Maybe they're people that you've sent a proposal over to. Maybe they're actually your current customers. From time to time, those people dither. They disappear. They go into the abyss. They don't talk to you. They ghost you. No different to that girl you once matched with on Tinder. They vanish and they stop talking to you. Why does that happen though? Why do people get ghosted? Well, there's a couple of reasons I've jotted down. There's a good chance that the person you're speaking to has lost interest. They could have got busy. They might not have fully bought into you. They may have not felt, sort of comfortable enough to tell you the truth. They could have gone to a competitor and they're too scared to tell you. The good news is that ghosting is preventable. 100% is preventable. I believe that there's some strong key reasons why people ghost you, and we're going to talk about those in a second. But what do the statistics say? Well, HubSpot, a leading CRM system, say that 44% of sales reps give up after just one follow-up. Yet 80% of deals require at least 5 touches to close. We talk about this quite often. Oh goodness, I've just had the battery flash on the camera. So audio-wise, we'll keep going. Video viewers, I apologize if I suddenly go blank. You're just going to have to listen to me and a screenshot for the rest of the podcast, I'm afraid. But that's a statistic we hear a lot about. I kind of say that people tend to not buy unless they have 7 to 12 touch points. So make sure that we are following up, utilizing multiple areas, multiple methods of engagement as well. Now, here's another statistic, and I love this one. Make sure we clip this up for social media. Salesforce say that only 24% of buyers say that they ghost intentionally. So actually, when you're being ghosted, the majority of buyers do it unintentionally. They don't do it. So what do they do? Well, the majority of people surveyed said that they either simply forgot or just got distracted. And I love this statistic because we think that our product or service is the best thing to happen in the world, right? We think our business is the number one thing. It's our baby. We talk about it every single day. We know about the benefits. We see what it delivers. But it doesn't mean that it's your prospect's biggest thing. It doesn't mean it's your prospect's sort of key thing that they want to hear about, talk about, right? They've got other things going on in their lives. They've got social lives. They've got family lives. They've got business lives. They've probably got other projects they need to manage. Their inbox is full. It's inundated with contact points. You're not your prospect's biggest priority. Doesn't mean that they hate you. They've got 999 things on their plate. It doesn't mean that the deal's dead. It means that you have got to stop the ghosting before it starts, which we're going to come on to in just a second. Now, in my opinion, prevention is far better than the cure, right? If someone starts ghosting you, there are certainly things that we can do. And I think we covered off a lot of that in that last episode we did ghosting on. We'll touch upon them straight away. But let's talk about how we can be proactive with ghosting, what we can do to stop ghosting in the first place. I've got 4 little simple tips for you, right? The first thing is set those clear next steps. One of the worst things I ever see salespeople do, or business owners do, sales reps do, is they leave everything in the hands of their prospect. They leave everything in the hands of the person they're speaking to. So here's the proposal. If you're interested, come back to me. If you're interested, let me know. Hope this helps. Meh. They disappear, they vanish because you've left the control in the hands of your prospect. What can you do to book or encourage those next steps in that sales process? It could just be a simple, I'll follow up with you next week. I'll give you a call next week. Show me for coffee next week. We can leave it open. We can use open-ended questions. We could, if we're sort of a bit more gung-ho and we feel we've got this relationship, let's get something in the diary now. You're going to need some time to read through that. Let's put some time in the diary right now. How about Tuesday? What a good salesperson does, what the most elite salespeople do, is they look to take that conversation on to the next steps. They don't go, here's the price. Hopefully you'll come back to me. Hopefully. No, you're a salesperson, for God's sake. Follow up with them. Keep going, and book something else in. Of course, we should qualify properly. We should qualify well. We spoke about qualification in an earlier episode as well. Some people ghost because they were just never the right fit for our product or service, okay? They just weren't the right fit, and it's easier for them to ghost you, or sometimes potentially they feel like they can't talk to you about it, right? So could it be that we've not qualified them well enough? Could it be that perhaps our product or service is well out of their budget? Is it just not the right fit for them? Do they need it? Do they want it? Do they have a desire for it? So we could ask questions really early on in our sales process. Questions such as, what happens if this issue doesn't get solved this quarter? Or who else would need to sign off on this? Or is there anyone else involved in the decision-making process on this? By asking these questions, we can make sure our targeting, our messaging, our selling is going towards not only the right companies, but then also the right decision makers and sometimes the right influencers within them early. As I said earlier, create that commitment early. Micro commitment is massive. Micro commitment is massive. One thing that I love to talk about and preach about is Cialdini's 6 principles of influence, right? And within there, we are influenced and persuaded by making micro commitments, by making these small commitments. So sometimes if we ask someone to take a big leap, right, they say no because it's nervous. It's out of our comfort zone. It's bad. It's not good. You know, it makes us feel worried, anxious. If I said to you, look, we're going to go on a 10-mile walk. Gosh, okay, that's a long distance. But what if I said to you, well, look, what we're going to do, we're going to walk 3 miles to a pub. We're going to have a pint there. Then 2 miles down the road, right, there's another pub we're going to stop off for lunch. And then big chunk at the end, we've got a 5-mile walk then to get home. But there is an ice cream stop on the way. We'll kind of eat that ice cream overlooking some hills and mountains. We've made those micro commitments, those micro steps, those micro goals, right? It's the same with your customers. Try and get those micro commitments from them. Like I say, what can we do? Can we book in a coffee? Can we book in a meeting? Can we book in a further Zoom, X, Y, Z, right? And of course, give them a goddamn reason to come back to you. Give them a reason to talk to you, right? The majority, I need to dig out some statistic on this. The majority of reasons why you are ghosted is because you are an absolute bore. That's a bore from the very start of the sales process, right through your follow-up techniques, right? You've been boring. You've not given them enough value. You've not sold the benefits enough. You've not given them a reason to come back. And even when that person has got distracted, they've got busy, they've cracked on with their life, you've sent 7 emails. Just checking in. Just wanted to follow up. Just wanted to see how things were. Boring as hell, right? Mix it up a little bit. I talk about this all the goddamn time. If you truly want the sale, if you truly want someone to buy from you, let's take it from sale. Let's look at a micro commitment. If you want someone to talk to you, give them a damn good reason to talk to you. if you're sending 5 emails and getting nothing from them, 2 things. A, look at the messaging. If you're sending 5 emails that just say, just following up, just checking in, then absolutely, you're going to get ignored, right? But secondly, mix up the contact, right? Mix up that contact. Emails are becoming the bugbear of everyday life. People hate their inbox. Their big job is dealing with their inbox. So what can you do differently to get out of that cycle, break that cycle, and try and get some engagement? Could you, revolutionary, right? Really revolutionary, this. But could you potentially pick up the phone? Could you make a phone call? Can you have an engaging conversation over the phone? It's an old thing, as old folk love it, but my gosh, right? Picking up the phone is so disruptive. You get the right answers. Could you potentially send a WhatsApp, send an SMS, send a text message? Could you take that one further? Could you maybe leave a voice note? Could you perhaps send a LinkedIn message? Here's a cool one, right? Here's a cool one. Could you send a letter, right? Could you send a nice handwritten letter? I still to this day don't know anyone that won't open a handwritten letter. People may ignore a printed letter, but if someone receives a handwritten letter through the post, make sure you want to read it, right? Who sent this? This looks good. Who's sent this? Yeah, of course, it costs, gosh, £1, and you may have to argue with your finance director to authorise use of a stamp, heaven forbid. But my gosh, if you're turning over a deal for 10, 20, 30, £100,000, isn't the price of a stamp and a letter and the time to write a quick letter absolutely worth it? Of course it is. Could you, once again, perhaps go and see the person? Could you perhaps go out and see the individual? Why not? Once again, if you truly want them, if you truly want to do business with that person, do something different. We are inundated with LinkedIn messages, emails, and people are just getting bored of it. They're getting sick of it. But do something different. Could you maybe send a gift in the post? If someone is truly ignoring you, they're not going to ignore a hamper, are they? Like that. And this is the thing we've got to think about. If you truly want the sale, get out there and get it. Stop trying to deal with like the low hanging fruit and stop trying to do business without having to talk to people. Just get an afternoon tea gift voucher from Amazon, send it direct to the address with a little gift note saying, hey, look, take Miss out for an afternoon tea with me. When you're back, give us a call, right? The beauty of that is then you've got 2 touch points mixed in one. You've got one touch point of receiving the afternoon tea. Oh, wow, this is lovely. What a lovely touch. But when that person goes to the afternoon tea, who do you think they're going to be thinking about when they're there? Genius, right? So look, you are being ghosted because you're a bore. You are an absolute bore. So try and mix things up a little bit. We heard a statistic earlier, and this is the thing. Don't get too sort of down and out if you are being ghosted, right? 44% of sales reps give up after just one follow-up, but 24% of buyers say that they ghosted intentionally. That means that quick math 76% of buyers do it unintentionally. So, 3/4 of buyers just don't ghost intentionally. They just forget. They misplace things. They've got other things on their plate. So keep going, keep being present, keep following up, keep chasing up. It works. I've got a real life story to share with you. I've got hundreds of clients who, have not come back to me, but I followed up. I've kept in touch. I've kept contacting. And lo and behold, they get in touch. I've got one client now. I'm going out to see him in a couple of weeks' time. So still not a customer, but I've been trying to get in touch with this guy for weeks. I've just been calling him. And here's the thing, right? I was calling him, not getting anywhere, leaving voicemails, dropping him little LinkedIn messages, no response, right? That's where the majority of salespeople will give up. That's where the majority of salespeople will go, oh, obviously a time waster, tie kicker. Gosh, I'm not going to waste my time with him. But I kept going. Lo and behold, he called me yesterday. Hey up, mate, how's it going? Sorry I've not been able to speak to you. How are things? Yeah, good. Listen, Rob, I'm so sorry. I've not been ignoring you. I know you want to talk to me. My father passed away earlier on in the year. I've just been trying to deal with that. Right, so sorry about to hear that, X, Y, Z. And this is the thing. My buyer has a life going on, right? It's not always about you, your product, or your service. So if you are trying to avoid, being ghosted, be proactive with it. Give your customers something to want to talk to you about. Make those micro commitments, be fun, engaging, exciting, and you won't get ghosted so much anymore. And even if you are ghosted, you now know that if you keep going, a sale could occur. In today's Cheeky Plug of the Week, I would like to talk to you about my 3 books that are all available on Amazon and all good charity shops. As many of you may know, I've authored 3 books on sales, with more soon to come. I just need to kind of sit down and get some writing done. I started off writing relationship selling that went absolutely viral, with people, businesses, organizations of all shapes and sizes buying a copy. I then released the Paragon Mindset, a book all about the sales mindset and how you can turn your head on to make more sales. And then finally, a month to improve your sales. It was released in 2019, I believe. I could be wrong. A book which is a simple 30-day guide to help you increase your sales over the space of a month. If you, like me, love to study sales and you want to increase your sales and you're looking for great books to read, then these books are for you. Where can you buy them? Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll drop some links in the comments or the show notes below. Or just head on over to Amazon, search for me, Robert Spence, search for the Paragon Mindset, Relationship Selling, or A Month to Improve Your Sales. Pick up your copy today. We're on to the listeners' questions section of the podcast now. Thank you so much for sending these in. These are one of my favorite parts of the podcast. If you didn't know, then I have my inbox open. I want to hear from you. I want to be able to answer your sales questions, whether you are dealing with a prospect that just is ghosting you and you don't know how to act. Maybe you'll keep hearing the same objection again and again and again and you don't know how to overcome it. Then I want to hear from you. What I do is I'll either read out the questions and answer them in an episode, or I save them up and we have a bumper question and answer episode at some point in time. If you do want to have a question answered, I said that the right way around, didn't I? All you got to do is email in thesalescircleofficial@gmail.com. That's thesalescircleofficial@gmail.com. You can find us anywhere on social media, whether that be Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, and send me a message over there, which is exactly what Olivia has done. So Olivia, thank you for this. Olivia asks, how long should I wait before chasing a ghosted lead? Yeah, maybe this is something I should have answered in the main part of the show, actually. It's a question I get asked a lot of. I do this in 2 ways. 1, I ask for permission. I ask for that micro commitment from the customer. Hey, Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, here's the prices. Listen, I will give you a call. When is best? When do you think you're going to be looking over this? When is best for me to call up? Or how often would you like to hear back from me? Of course, if you've not got that commitment or you've not allowed that commitment, it's trying to find a nice balance between not being too pestery, but also not being too loose with it, where you either are forgotten by your prospect or your competitor sneaks in, right? So I normally kind of weight it, so, quite heavy towards the early start of that follow-up process and then take a little bit longer towards the end. Look, normally within a week, I think is good. Anything around the 24, 48, 72 hours, in my opinion, can be a little bit desperate and a bit pushy, potentially. But within a week, I think is good. And then, like I say, I tailor that off to maybe every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, maybe then just drop in a random weekly one as well, just to kind of mix up that contact. I think the answer really is there's no right or wrong. You will know your customer better than I do. It's always good to get the ground rules and the micro commitment from your customer or your prospect if you can. But if not, weekly I think is good, in my opinion. Ben has written in, thank you, Ben. What do I do if they keep saying, I'll get back to you soon, but then they never do? Yeah, from my side of things, I think prospects do that. Or listen, I do that for 2 reasons. One, I've either not really understood the value or the benefits of whatever is being sold to me. But it also becomes a monotonous habit. It becomes just I'll come back to this. And what happens with habits is the more that happens, the harder it is then to break that habit. And sometimes prospects, in my opinion, will just get into the habit of either deleting your email, or they'll get into the habit of, I'll come back to you later. I'm still thinking about it, It just becomes the monotony. So we've got to break that cycle. We've got to break that cycle really quick. And there's 2 ways, in my opinion, that we can break that cycle. One being a method of contact. So if we're constantly emailing, what can we do to break that contact? Can we perhaps pick up the phone? Can we go see them? Can we send them a gift? X, Y, Z. but also, can we change what we are saying? If we're constantly saying, I mean, you've not said on here what you're putting into the emails, or, how you're making this contact. But break up the contact. If you're constantly saying, look, are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Change it up a little bit. Just say, look, I know now might not be the right time. I don't want to keep pestering you. When should I contact you? Or are you free for me to come out next week? Or listen, I'm in your area next week. I'll bring you some treats out. Do you prefer sweet or savoury? Just something to break the monotony and break that rhythm, break that routine a little bit. I think breaking the monotony and breaking that rhythm really shocks people and gets people re-engaged. And final question from Jade. Thank you, Jade. Jade has said, how do I deal with ghosting without taking it personally? Well, look, the statistics show, was it HubSpot, I think, who said it? HubSpot say 24% of buyers say they ghosted intentionally. So even those intentional ghostings, it's very rarely that it's on you, unless you've done something absolutely painful on someone, maybe unless you've really upset someone or said something wrong. It's rarely on you. It could be on the way you've presented things. It could be the way you've questioned things. So there's two ways I want to look at this, Jade. It was Jade, wasn't it? Yeah. So first things first, just remember that business is business, right? People have got loads of things going on. There's so much going on in the world. Unfortunately, you're not the be all and end all, unfortunately, Jade. You might be, I don't know, right? But there's loads of things going on. Secondly, try and take every ghosting and everything as a bit of a feedback. Try and take everything as a learning. What can you do differently? When you can try and contact them, just try and learn what you could have done differently. Maybe use that as that kind of circuit breaker. Listen, I know now might not be the right time. I've not heard back from you. Just so I know, is there anything I could have done differently, or is there anything we as a company could have done better for you? What's the worst that's going to happen? Someone's going to come back and say, yeah, absolutely, look, I've gone with a competitor because they're 20% cheaper. Okay, fair enough. We now know. Listen, can we renegotiate? Can we talk? X, Y, Z. The worst thing they're going to do is just keep ghosting you. That's fine. Just move on to the next one. I wouldn't personally take it personally. Look at that. Listen, thanks so much for the questions there. Like I said, if you've got any burning questions, anything you want to know, just write in thesalescircleofficial@gmail.com, or find me on social media and drop me some messages. I'd love to answer your questions. And now, just before we wrap up, we're going to do my book recommendation of the week. And there goes the camera. There it goes. Finally, goodness, it's held on for so long, bless it. So, of course, if you are watching on YouTube, I am really sorry. You're now just going to have to look at a thumbnail of me. But for those of you listening on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, then don't bother. Nothing's changed for you. It's not an issue whatsoever. But listen, every week I recommend a book. I'm a big advocate for reading. I think reading is fantastic. And I think the more that we read, the better we become. And so every week I pick a book from my bookcase. These are always a book that I've read or written, potentially, and one that I'd like to put forward to you for you to go and read, one that you can take on within your sales journey and learn from it. Now, today's book is a hefty one, but it's a good one. This one is by an author called, and you're going to know who it is, Anthony Robbins. Now, later on in life, he's gone on to become known as Tony Robbins, if memory serves me correct. Now, for those of you that don't know, Tony Robbins or Anthony Robbins has become potentially one of the most famous, if not the most famous, motivational gurus in the world. He's a great motivational speaker, a great consultant, great coach, and he's written many, many books. Now, the book I'm recommending is called Awaken the Giant Within. There's loads of books of Tony Robbins that I could talk about, but this one was on the bookshelf and it really screamed out to me. Awaken the Giant Within, and I think it's a fantastic book. Although it's not necessarily a sales-based book, this really deals with motivation, personality, mindset, psychologies as well. And if I may, allow me to read a little bit of the blurb here. It says, are you in charge of your life, or are you being swept away by things that are seemingly out of your control? In Awaken the Giant Within, Anthony Robbins, the best-selling author of Unlimited Power, shows the reader to take immediate control of their mental, emotional, physical, and financial destiny. Awaken the Giant Within is a fascinating, intriguing presentation of cutting-edge findings and insights across a broad spectrum of issues, including the growing consciousness that true success is anchored in enduring values and services to others. On the blurb, there's a couple of other high people shouting praise for this book. So Stephen R. Covey, author of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I'm sure we shouted that out just the other week. Mary Kenny from the Daily Express, and the tennis giant himself, Andre Agassi, says Tony's incredible understanding of the world, people, and human nature makes him the ultimate life coach. He knows what it takes to make people excel and win. There's more. Roger Black, Mike Bash, Martin Harris, Martin Sheen, Peter Guber, Scott DeGamo. Listen, loads of high praise for Tony Robbins' work and this book in itself. It's a fantastic read. And, look, full transparency, I've not read this in years, probably, 5 or 6 years, potentially. And just flicking through it now, I want to give it another read. So if you're looking for a book that's going to help you take control of your mental, emotional, physical, and financial destiny, then Anthony Robbins' Awaken the Giant Within is certainly the book for you. As always, I will drop a link for you to buy your own copy in the show notes or the YouTube description below. So make sure you click on that link, grab your copy today. That about wraps us up for today's episode of the Sales Circle podcast. A massive apology for those of you that are stuck with us on over on YouTube. As I said, the battery pack, it was poor planning on my behalf. The battery pack failed, hadn't charged it, so we've gone audio only. I mean, look, in the grand scheme of things, it lasted far longer than what I thought it did, but all I can do is learn from the lesson and make sure that every time I record, the battery pack is charged. Thank you so much for sticking with me. As I've kind of mentioned throughout the whole podcast, ghosting will happen. Ghosting does happen. To some degree, you can avoid it by being proactive, by doing better things and working a bit smarter and a bit stronger. The key tips are, don't take it personally. Try and mix up that content, mix up the messaging, and you'll be absolutely fine. But thank you so much for tuning in to the Sales Circle podcast. Just a reminder, these episodes come out every single Thursday. So if you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, if you are a salesperson and you're looking to increase your sales, then this is the podcast for you. And hey, listen, why not send this on to 2 or 3 of your colleagues or your peers who you think would benefit from hearing this content? Thank you so much for tuning in. I've been Rob Spence, and until next time, all the best. And that's it for another episode of the Sales Circle. Make sure you hit that follow button, join us over on social media, and we'll see you next week.